Welcome back to our podcast, viewers. Today, I and my co-host Vaibhav Kulkarni are thrilled to have Sara Patka with us, who is founder, entrepreneur, chef, and also the creative force behind Love and Flower. Based in Mumbai, Sara has blended her passion for pastries with her entrepreneur spirit to build not just a bakery, but a brand that resonates with the warmth and creativity. From delightful wedding cakes to corporate goodies, Sarah does it all. So I'm really eager to hear Sarah's journey in today's podcast. I am sure viewers you will be also eager to hear her journey in this podcast. So Sarah, can you share with us what inspired you to start Love and Flower? What was your vision when you first began this journey? Like when you have started thinking about this. So before going to anything, we would like to know why you have started this, and then one by one we will be obviously knowing more about your journey.
Sure. Hi everyone. I am Chef Sara, owner founder of Love and Flower. I've always been inclined towards desserts, and it was always something that was associated around with growing up as well. As a child, a teenager, I used to always make a few things and experiment around. And I think that was just the true passion, like how they say, convert your passion into, your work. I think I just kind of blended the two and I just decided to go ahead with it.
Lovely. And then I think one of the key highlights of your career has also been you have been chef into well-reputed hotels such as Taj and Trident. So
Yes.
going back from there, and then I think had a professional, very intensive journey there, and then you kind of
Yes.
shifted. So can you, in a short, give us a glimpse? How is the life of the person in working someone who is working in this kind of high level of restaurants in the hotels?
So it's pretty much like any other field. Even if you have like a corporate job, it's pretty much the same. Like you have a continuous routine every day that you got to do. And you are given a department or a task or a challenge or something that you need that you have to do. So it's something that you do every day. You wake up every day and you do it. So what I felt around that time was that there was a lot of monotony in terms of the work, and one could not really explore their creativity and really that side of it. So yeah, the life out there is extremely monotonous. I mean, those who survive, and those like me who can't just transport into something new or bloom into something else.
So I have one of my friend. He's in chef in Australia. I
Oh
think he
wow.
has done some course from Taj. I don't. I'm not sure about it, but he really sends me some cool photos when he's under that refrigerator, and there is a lot of things to eat. So I did ask him that, have you ever stolen something or eaten something that you liked? So same question to you. Do you ever feel tempted? Something like, okay, there is a lot of stuff that I can have and I can quickly have. No one is going to know about it. So any thoughts about that?
Vaibhav is
Actually,
telling all his art out. This is what he wants to do.
Yeah, I
And
would
he will
have.
be taking.
absolutely. No, unfortunately, I mean, fortunately, rather, I did not have any episode of that sort because if we would actually have a craving, at least in my journey, I've seen when I would have a craving, and because I'm a dessert fan, like the whole. I mean, it's come from there. I love desserts. I that has been my true, favorites. But when we were working, we did not have the need, honestly, to like steal or like take away. I mean, all I used to do is just go to my chef and ask him, Chef, I really want to eat this. Can I just have one? Will it really be, will the count be affected? And honestly, they were really sweet like that. They would never, of course, they always prepared a few extras as well. So there was always a little higher than the count. And one, two out of it was really not a big deal. In fact, it was, people used to do that often, especially after a gathering or an event for which the desserts are going. If it's, say, it's done and there are desserts left on the table, then, it would be up for grabs for everyone to eat, like whoever gets it first.
Wow. I wish I had that
Actually,
life.
That's what I feel like Weber was telling all his art out. This is what he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is one of the perks. I will definitely agree to that, because we used to always like especially the food looked so aesthetic, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, they're having even. And especially if you're working behind that food, you're creating that food, you're crafting it, then you would like to taste it. A very crucial part of my day at Love and Flower is testing everything that we make, tasting everything that we make. So because we need to, of course, maintain quality control, we need to understand that. So in hotels, definitely, like there would be like 5 6 of them around, and we would, if there's really no one wants to eat it, then there were people who wanted to eat it and would get the benefit of it. So that was really nice.
Actually,
Interesting.
my next question is around this only. Yeah, my next question is around this only. Be starting a business in the food industry is really challenging because every different people have different tastes, right?
Yes.
And as per my understanding, running a business, especially in the food industry, is not a small feat work, right? So I want to know, like, what kind of challenges you were facing while you have thought for this journey, that you want to start something in the food journey. Obviously, like, you have expertise around it, but still, considering the kind of audience we have, so like, what you say, what kind of challenges you were facing?
So one thing I was really certain about when I was starting the brand was that I really don't want to waste any food. So a zero wastage policy was something that was really one of the foundations of building Love and Flower. And one of the reasons why Love and Flower is a home bakery and not a cloud kitchen, or a baking studio, or any outside store for that matter. So that was really a key point for us, that I was very sure that we did not want to do anything which would encourage wasting of food, or any wastage of any kind. So especially when we talk, when I when we especially do orders for corporates and stuff, we always put this point across, that it is one of the foundation points is zero waste policy. So simply also why, so it's actually connected, like a zero waste is it connects to like pre-ordering, which is why we encourage pre-ordering format, and not like ready to eat or ready to pick up, or readily available, especially for that particular point. So that's the thing. So we do we do tell people to, we encourage them to pre-order specifically. Like I have every day 1 or 2 calls coming into me saying that cake chahiye, and I'm like, it doesn't work like that. We don't have anything available. So that still, I feel, as adopting that as a style is still in transition. But I guess nothing comes easy, right? So
I think someone very well said that to bake good things, it takes time.
yes,
So yeah, and I think that is what your policy is as well. That I need a time to offer you something really great. So
exactly.
kudos to you on that, and I really like the environmental aspect behind this entire thing, that you don't want to waste anything.
Yes.
Coming back to your journey with hotels, and then going for a step further into this transition, basically from working under one department or working under a specific area, and then now suddenly jumping into business where you are managing everything, right from purchasing, sales,
Yes.
production, managing the team and everything.
Delivery, logistics,
Exactly.
marketing. The list goes
So
on.
how does and how difficult is that transition phase? Like, do you feel that it is too difficult, or how it happened to you actually?
So actually, it was like I mentioned earlier, that chef. I mean, being a chef in hotels, or specifically hotels, I'd say, can lead to a lot of monotony in terms of your work. So it's like a routine that is made. While some people do adopt it and kind of blend in it, I, for one, was completely the opposite. And by nature, I'm a very creative person. So I feel that when I am comprised into a situation where my creativity cannot be let loose, it is kind of jarring to me. And as an artist, as a baker. So when I was actually by the time when I was quitting, I was already quite content with working with these hotels and really starting something new, or maybe pivoting to even restaurants, maybe not even like, because initially that was not the plan. Having Love and Flower, taking it up as a your own baby, nurturing it, that was honestly in the start was not the plan. I thought I would approach other restaurants or there, because cultures are different in hotel industry and
Yeah.
restaurants. Otherwise, they're similar, they're not completely the same, but they do have like aspects of differentiation. So initial plan was honestly that, but then at some point, somebody just directed me, or just that self realization came, where I was told that, hey, why don't you do it on your own, why don't you build your own brand. And at first, it really sounded like a joke or something that I would not take really seriously. But then I just really started thinking intently and with an intent to actually go for it and do it. But then again, anything honestly is really not easy, right? Like I said, anything in life doesn't really come easy.
Yeah.
So it really matters about how much you're willing to do and how hungry you are for that.
Yeah.
So, in this journey, you have also did certain collaboration, right? You have mentioned certain brands like Zero Degrees and
Yes.
Glow House, right? So,
Yeah.
wanted to understand about this partnership, how this partnership.
You've really searched my LinkedIn profile clearly. You've done your homework. I must add that.
Definitely, we want to hear all about your journey. We can't miss any of the point which can help me or otherwise Webber or otherwise our viewers to understand about your
That's so
journey, how
sweet.
you
That's
did.
so sweet. So, Zero Degrees, actually, like you mentioned, is my mom's venture. This started about 5 years ago. This is before COVID, the year before COVID, 2019. And it was, and this is, I was 5 years into, 6 years into Love and Flower. And I think, like, just seeing me every day work, I think, when you are when you're around people who are very aspirational, then you yourself really become. So my mom actually is a homemaker entirely, but around 2019, she had this aspiration of starting something, a venture which was related to nostalgia, and really spoke to that with people. So we really started brainstorming and thinking of what can be done, and then we came up with popsicles. So that's how Zero Degrees Fruit Popsicles was launched. At today, now it's what they've completed 5 years. And they do all these bachpan wali popsicles, basically जो हम बचपन में खाते थे, चुस्की that they call it, or Pepsi, the slang lingo for it is. So that basically was, and the idea was very simple. Like I told you, it was something that was just correlation with nostalgia. That was very set in her head. And then we came up with this, and now today we are sitting at 20 flavors from the brand, which is also the most number of flavors this popsicle brand is offering. I'm sure there are other competitors as well, but again, they don't have as many flavors as they do. Uh, so I actually do play roles for them as well, because I always feel that learning is, you learn every day. You learn at the age of 40, at the 50, 60, whatever. You can constantly keep learning. So I actually really handle their social media and their photography bit, and just help them around with things that need to be reached out there, because honestly, the product is really great. And we've heard this from the clients, we've heard this from our from the reviews that we've gotten. So yeah, this was basically that. And my sister-in-law has a venture which is called Glow House by Jazan. Jazan is her name, and she basically does all sorts of candles and bath soap related products, bath bombs and bath salts and all sorts of those kind of stuff. So she is basically into home, in a kind of a, yeah, home decor kind of a situation. She does that. And again, with her, I always, I try to help and come up with products, and we do a lot of brainstorming. And also it matters because eventually it's like you're coming from a family of entrepreneurs, so you really understand each other's journeys, because you also have been there at some point. So we really make sure to imbibe that and into our family values, because we really are a couple of entrepreneurs, and we think that eventually it's going to, that hard work will pay off. It's not going to go anywhere wasted.
Wow. So I must say
Vaibhav,
that.
I was just thinking,
Yeah,
I was just thinking कि पूरे family is like a package कि luxury gifts चाहिए तो इनके पास से ले लो, आपको बाद में शादी की जरूरत है. You if you
yeah.
want a gift, you can take from them.
I was
So it's a
just
full
coming down to that
package.
thing, that on a dinner or lunch table, do you guys have a normal conversation, or is it more like an entrepreneur conversation that
Our dinner table talks are like 70-75% just work related, or maybe just
yeah,
about entrepreneurial advices or inspirational quotes about that. We actually do follow a lot of entrepreneurs out there in general. Also, I, for one, always try to do a lot of research. So, we always try to support each other that way.
yeah.
And I think it's very important also, especially if you know the journey, and you've been a part of it, you've gone through it, then it's very important to share that as well.
Yeah. A lot of entrepreneurs complain this one part, that entrepreneur journey is very lonely. But if you have a supporting family with you, or a group of people that keeps you motivated, I think there is nothing that can stop you in that case.
Yes.
So
I always say to a lot of people who ask me about, how you mentioned that how I started off and what I did. I always say this one key point, that, have a great support system.
Yeah.
That it's very important. If you have the right kind of people who push you in that direction, you will, be achieving your goals, and you will soar.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had one CA in our earlier podcast, and she did highlight the same aspect of having a very supportive system behind you
Right.
to accomplish whatever you want. Quickly jumping towards your right now as a founder of, and more, I believe, more like a CEO role that you plays in this entire business
Yes.
right now, right? How does a day look like for you? Like, is it too hassling? Is it like, because I know that you take order on at 48 hours of delay.
Yes.
So how does that look like? What are the tasks that you look after?
So there are like a bunch of aspects that you do, and to answer that question, like my every day is different. Like no day is the same, because on days, there are some days when I'm just like a chef and I'm doing my baking. Some days I am doing finance. Some days I'm doing marketing. Every day I'm playing different roles, and honestly, I really enjoy it because it comes from a true passion place. And at the end of the day, you're doing what you love the most. So even if it doesn't involve baking, like baking is, for me, is like my decompressor. I kind of de-stress from it. But even on the days when I'm not baking and I have to do the work that goes behind the brand, I am still as intrigued to know it, to learn it, to market it, because at the end of the day, it's for my baby, right? So it differs from day to day, really, on what kind of work we have. And the reason we do order, the reason we do that is because eventually it's like I am a solopreneur. I do have a small team of one more person who helps me out, and then of course, needless to say, my family is the support system that I have, who also help me a little bit with aspects of logistics and timely deliveries and stuff like that. But again, no 2 day is the same, because there is so much going on. And as an entrepreneur, I've realized that you really don't have a break. And even if you want to take one, you can't, because your brain is constantly just thinking,
Evolving.
how can I multiply this? How can I do more? How can I move more forward? So that.
Interesting. Uh,
how exactly you're managing the marketing side of this Love and Cloud? Because I can see your social media is quite engaging. I can say for me, you have
Right.
posted some very good photos and everything. But yeah, other than that, how exactly you are handling the marketing piece?
When I did start Love and Flower around in 2015, it was also the age of the era of blogging and the bloggers, and that entire era started out. So I honestly, I'm still learning every day with the marketing, but I mainly, and now it's been 9 years. Like I started in 2015, and we've come at like 2024. So I have been diligent about putting out there what we're doing, reaching out to people, communicating more, branding my own self or my brand, and just talking, socializing. So there's a lot, and also to be consistent is something is very key to uh, marketing yourself on social media. Like if you even see the bigger brands that are out there, like something as simple as Cadbury or Nestle, them being such old brands, they still market every day. And even with having such a giant huge empire, with just being a very big brand, knowing everybody knowing what it is, they still do it. So I feel like brand like mine, where people still don't know a lot, it needs to be put every day out there, that what it is, who it is, what are we offering. Because also I like to create a little bit of differentiation factor from the other bakers out there or the other brands existing out there, that not to kind of shame or put anyone under the spotlight, but just what our brand is giving, what are the benefits that you will come to us and you will have a whole experience, you know so those key pointers are very important, to be posting it every day, to being consistent. And very honestly, I have been very focusing around Instagram mainly. I mean, 9 years of posting can actually generate you a decent enough viewers and audience that will follow you.
Yeah. So I believe that most
Type
of
of
your orders are orders. Those are known people, or not. I'm not saying known, but they already know you. Basically, organic orders. What I mean. So there are
Yes.
no more like a paid measure that you do, and
No, no.
that is a very good sign for business that they are getting naturally orders,
Yes.
organic orders. So slightly jumping further now, imagine if there are someone maybe in Mumbai or any metro city or any second tier two cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone like you who has more than around 10 years of experience in this industry, and if I want to start right now, what should be the a short list of steps that I should be taking in the bakery industry?
I would say to kind of first of all just kind of get those pointers right of what exactly are you looking at. Have a lot of clarity.
Mhm.
Firstly, to what are you catering to? Who are you catering to? Who is your target audience? What is it that you want to you know be giving to the audience? So that is the first step. That is very important. You have to have clarity of what you are offering, who you are offering, how will you do the needful. That clarity is very, very important. Once you have that clarity, the rest is very easy. The rest just comes to you on your own, right?
So it's
But
majorly, yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Vaibhav.
So it's majorly, you mean to say that I think having clarity, what you want to do, what you're passionate about, and then who you are targeting, basically.
Yes, yes, definitely. Because you need to know exactly. See, there is a if you think about it, like there is a market for everything,
Yeah.
right? It's just that which market are you looking to cater?
Yeah, interesting.
थोड़ा lame question
Summarize it.
I want to know कि food industry में how you define your audience, because generally in the area which you are focusing, there will be different kind of people with a different taste. How exactly you will
Yes.
be understanding that this is something what can work in this particular location?
So a lot of things, really, you're right. Like you mentioned, there are a lot of different people. But again, it still boils down to the earlier question that I've answered, where you need to just have clarity. You need to know that everybody is not going to like your product, but there will be a bunch who will be your regulars. Say 10 people you reach out to, 2 people will like it, 8 people will not. Forget the 8, look at the 2, concentrate on those 2. Because at the end of the day, even in the food industry, like you said, of course, being a home baker, you are offering fresh, you are doing a pre-order, you are creating everything from scratch. These are all key elements. Then those are actually differentiation factors, key elements to all the others existing otherwise. I'm not talking about home bakers, it's other home bakers here, but just like entities, eatery entities that offer these desserts and stuff like that, confectionaries basically. So you have to eventually know your audience. You have to know, you have to evaluate what products you're offering at what price, what kind of people can be able to look at it or afford it or buy it or even gift it for that matter.
Yeah.
So it really, really, and it might be a very small niche also. But at the end of the day, if that niche is your viable audience and giving you enough to sustain, then I don't think you need to go larger than that. Some people kind of deviate and want to be like, okay, I started small and I want to go big, 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 big. In an attempt to go that big, those key elements are often sidelined, because if you're creating mass, then quality control is hampered. So many nuances,
Yeah.
nitty-gritties are not carefully considered. So you have to have that clarity. You have to sit down and know what exactly is your end goal,
Yeah.
with the brand, with the anything that you start for that matter. What is your end goal? Like, and I'm not even saying like, oh, what is you started today? What is your 5-year plan? No, what is your end goal? What is
Purpose,
it
I
that
guess.
you want to do finally?
Yeah.
So you need to have that clarity.
That sounds great. And now, coming to the, what you are doing right now, I think we are short on time right now, so I'm kind of wrapping it quickly.
Yes.
And we are on to last segment of this, but just wanted to let people know because there might be a lot of people who is watching this from Mumbai and around the regions. So, what are the operational areas that you serve, and what kind of I think Prachi already addressed it that you offer corporate gifting and also bakery things. But can you just simplify and in short lines you can inform?
So Love and Flower does all sorts of things like corporates. We mainly cater to parties. We do dessert tables. We do personalized gifting. I mean, the sky is the limit. To be very honest, like if a client comes to me, tells me this is my query, what can you do? I will give them 6 options for them to choose from. So it's honestly, we are very, I mean, the brand itself, we are very moldable in terms of the client requirements, client needs. But again, we mainly cater to Mumbai region, and especially because we are a home bakery and we bake fresh. So we cannot do anything pan India at the moment. But of course, we do cater to nearby areas such as even Lonavala and Alibag.
Wow. So I believe Mumbai and nearby regions, not far than 2 hours. I am considering.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, that
yes.
sounds
Nearby
interesting.
areas, specifically. Yes.
Great.
One
So
one more question: what is the plan to expand this thing? I can understand, like from last 9 years, you have started this business, but
Yes.
what's the next plan? Like, you want to expand it to the different cities also, or it will be in Mumbai?
Um, so honestly, my initial my 5-year plan after starting my brand was to have like a bakery outlet or where people could come and buy. But then COVID happened, and then the plan got completely like chucked off because COVID changed everybody's plan. But at this point where I stand, I'm actually kind of really content with my current situation, and I'm not at this point, I'm not looking at massing it simply because, as I mentioned in my earlier point, that the quality is a very important factor, especially for food. If your quality is hampered, then there's nothing that will save the brand, because the brand is actually for the food and the offerings that you have. So if those products are not controlled and their products are not rightly done, it's there's really no existence or the point of that brand existing.
Yeah.
So maybe even if I really think of branching out at a later point, it will still be something that has this part really controlled out, because I really love myself being in the kitchen and actually really experimenting with desserts and doing desserts every day. But again, like of course, if that plan works around, then maybe I might even jump to expanding it slowly. But at this point, I think we're perfectly all right with where we are, because a lot of our bit, and I feel Mumbai itself is like a very huge market, right? So I mean, I already have like a whole billions of them to talk about my brand too. So maybe once I finish with them, once I've overcome this sector, then maybe we can talk about branching off ahead.
Let me recommend to my siblings also. They stay in Mumbai, so
Oh, that would be
I have
great.
came to
That
know.
is
Yeah.
so sweet of you. Thank you.
And Vaibhav can suggest you more because he is basically from Pune, so he will be able to help you out more for the marketing.
Sure, that'd be
Definitely.
nice.
So we are on the last segment of this podcast, that is rapid fire. Not taking more than 2 to 3 minutes of your time, Sarah. I know you are in hurry. Just a few words for you. Just whatever you think out of this word, just you have to answer quickly without thinking about it.
Oh dear,
So
I'm
Prachi,
really nervous with rapid fire, but sure, go ahead.
no, it's gonna simple, so don't worry.
Okay,
Yeah, Prachi, can you move ahead?
Okay. Bakery.
love.
Okay. Corporate goodies.
Many.
Okay. Entrepreneurship.
um, I know this is rapid fire, but I'm really not even getting a word for entrepreneurship. An icon.
You are enjoying your journey, so I can totally understand with this word.
I have few words too.
Yeah, go
Sure.
ahead.
Sugar.
Good for the soul, not good for the heart.
Nice. Well answered. Profits.
Anticipating.
Family.
Support system.
Perfect. So that's it we had with our rapid fire round. Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving your time. And there was a
Thank
lot to discuss about, but I feel maybe we can connect sometime later.
Of course,
when
we can
have time.
connect for a part two. I'd love
Yeah.
that.
And we
I
would
have
like
many
to know.
questions still left.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
really want to know more about this industry. Never got the chance to know more about this industry, but I believe Sarah is the right person who can help us.
Yes, we shall sit one more time for a part two and rekindle all those conversations again.
Thank you so much, Sarah. So, guys, this was this podcast. Just like Sarah highlighted, always market your business. Our conversation just started with a messenger message, and then eventually turned up to this podcast. I'm really grateful, and even we, as a host of this podcast, really grateful for Sarah for joining us today. Thank you so much. Do visit her website. And if you have any questions about this business industry, I hope Sarah would be able to help you out through the LinkedIn.
Yes,
She's active
absolutely.
there.
Yes, please feel free to connect. Thank you so much for having me. And I really hope that this interview for all the listeners is helpful in some way or the other. If it's not, then we will come up with the part two to inspire and aspire even more.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right.